Peace reflections. This is the first time I'm doing this. I'm not too experienced with recording myself. Before I start, I wanted to give a shout out to my enlightener, master teacher, Nature Boy. You know, he inspired me to come out, you know, and start making my own videos, and start, you know, sharing my own experiences with myself. And right now I'm just, you know, talking to myself right now. So it's kind of fun. So I wanted to start by talking about the meaning of life, like the purpose of, like, what's the purpose of being a human? Or what does it mean to be a human? And I think I should start off, you know, talking about like how humans are born. So as we know, or as we should know, humans are born with the sperm cell and the egg cell. And, you know, those two cells coming together with 23 chromosomes each to make the zygotes. And when they come together to make that cell, the cell splits off into more pieces, into more cells. It essentially reproduces. So how do cells reproduce? It's I believe it's called meiosis or mitosis, and that's when, you know, cells split into two cells. So one cell becomes two cells, and they keep going on and on and on. So when the zygote splits, you know, into 6 or 8, I think it's 6 cells, then it creates a little body, or yeah, and then the body, you know, gets more cells as it you know, grows. And so if we are all a community of cells, like I'm just a community of cells right now, that would make me a cell. You know, I started off as one cell. And since I'm a cell, that would mean that everybody else is a cell. So, for instance, my mother's a cell, and I split from her. So I came out of her, and that would mean that I am my mother. My mother is me. And this grass is kind of fucking... This grass is nice, but there's a lot of junk here. As you can see, I'm still, you know, in Babylon. I have to find my way out. Well, I already know it, you know, but it's a work in progress. But back to the cells. So I am a cell that was reproduced from my mother, who is also a cell. And so if we think of, you know, the entire world as a community of cells, like from humans to aliens to animals, Um, you know, everything has, an origin. Everything has a starting point. Everything has that one beginning cell that created everything else. And if we go deeper than that and we look at the particle that everything is made up of, the atom, and the atom is, I believe, 6 photons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. According to science, that's made up of 99% space. So if that's true, then this whole, like, what is this? Can I flip the phone? I guess I can't. Whatever. If that's true, then none of this is really real. Everything that we see is not real. Like, we don't exist. Nothing exists outside of us. The cell. The cell just reproduces itself. We're all reflections of the same cell. And that's big, because for many years, I was kind of born into the system of believing that I'm me and you are you, and we're separate from each other. But that's not true. We're all one mind all together, just vibrating on different frequencies of thought, of beliefs. And so I've noticed that I was born into a lower frequency of thought. And so growing up, I had a lot of tough times. Everybody does. Most people do, anyway. But one interesting thing about my past, or my childhood, was that I used to roam the streets of Harlem. That's where I was born, and that's where I grew up. And I saw my grandmother, on the street. That's the first time I met her, was on the street. And she was a drug addict, and she had a really hard life, and no one really cared about her. Like, no one really wanted to help her, and she didn't really know how to help herself. And I saw that as a child, and I remember, from that point on, I actually wanted to, understand the suffering and pain of everybody, all of the reflections of myself that go through, pain and suffering like that, that follow the norm of the lower self, and end up getting themselves into really tough situations that they can't get out of. So my grandmother is a wonderful person. She is very talented. She loves art. She loves to sing. I've seen a few of her artwork, of her, some of the paintings that she made, and they look very realistic. I've never actually seen anything like it. And I was wondering how someone so talented can experience life like that. Like, someone so talented can fall. Someone so pure-hearted can essentially, like, land themselves into a place where they don't know what to do anymore with their, like, what to do with their life anymore, or what they can do. And I realized that after growing up, obviously, I realized that, you know, she was, you know, an angelic being. So if damn, I have to go into fucking what hell is. And damn, alright, I'm gonna come back to that then. So let's go back to when I was talking about cells, right? So if we're all cells and we're all reflections of each other, we're all cells. What do, like, cells are supposed to work in harmony to, you know, keep the body alive, right? They all have specific functions that they act upon to keep the body living forever. That's seems like their purpose. And so for the body to die, it has to have, you know, illness. It has to be sick. And so what's the sickness? What's the illness? You know, we know of, let's say cancer, for instance. What's cancer? Like, cancer is cancer's a cell, a community of cells in the body that don't know that they're a part of the body. They kind of just destroy everything, and they multiply, and they, you know, they clump up together. They start making tumors, and all of this fucks with the, you know, the natural flow of the organic cells, the natural flow, and mess with the balance and harmony of the body. And so until eventually, you know, the body dies. It goes large enough. It affects the body enough to where the body can no longer function. The cells can no longer do their job, and then the body dies. Okay, so if we look at the world like, you know, like the body, you know, we're all cells. We all do specific things, and the body started off with just only nature. And so what would make the world, let's say the world is the body, this earth realm, this plane of existence is the body. What would make this body, you know, die? What would kill itself? The cancer. So what is the cancer in the body? The cancer is that shit over there. All that shit over there. And the reason why I say that is because, like, what do they do? What do we do? You know, we chop down trees. That fucks with the, you know, the oxygen that we need to breathe. We take from nature all day. We build these big ass buildings, and everybody's just we abduct all the animals. We you know, splice their genes. We test on them. We eat them. We eat the flesh. We do all this stuff, and we think it's good, like we're progressing, we're advancing with humanity. But all this, we pollute the air, all of it goes against nature. All of it goes against what nature truly is. And it is the cancer of the world. It's the cancer of the body that we live on. We're not supposed to be living like this. The reason why we're living like this is because we're in a lower frequency of thought. We're living in ignorance, you know, ignorance of what is true. You know, and I believe that we just either, most of us don't know what's true. We were born, right? And when we were born, we're fresh. Like we're a fresh, pure heart, pure soul. No, nothing in our minds. And so, growing up around, your parents, getting put into school systems, TV, entertainment, whatever it is, politics, news, all of that, it's them. I say them like I'm talking about the lower self, the spirit of the lower self. All it is mental programmings for you to play out for the rest of your life. And all of it isn't true. All of it isn't factual. It isn't backed by, real science and real, because we think science is real, but they probably know a lot of shit that we aren't supposed to know. And they tell you things. They tell you like, they tell you the functions of the cell and how the cells work, and then they tell you how light works, and then they tell you about the brain and how the brain, when the eyes just look at certain light frequencies, they bounce into the light, and they send electrons, electrical signals to the back of your brain, and then the back of your brain that's in darkness tells you what you see. So that means you're not really looking at nothing. Your brain is just telling you what everything is. Just like all your senses do the same thing. Your senses just send all electrical signals to your head to tell you what you're experiencing. And so a lot of people know that, but they don't understand what that means. They still think that, we're all separate, and they are just in love with the lower self. They're in love with, having fun. They don't even know what fun is. They just kind of grew up, wanted to be a part of something. These specific group of people just happen to, like making fun of other people, and they're laughing, and you wanted to be friends with them, so you started laughing with them, and you started doing all that stuff with them, and then doing it enough times, that becomes your program. So then now when you leave those people, you still do the same thing, and you still attract the same people. Everybody's looking for the same, people in their same frequency, and that's their soulmates and their soul family, but no one wants to mature high enough. Like, everybody wants to be an adult, right? What does it mean to be an adult? We think being an adult is getting taller, right? Getting a house, getting a career job, getting a car, having a family. But there's no mental progression in that. Everything starts in the mind first. So if you're not mentally growing, if things don't really make sense to you, you just kind of stuff information into your head because you want to know everything, and you wanna be smart and be intelligent. But intelligence is all frequency based. Excuse me. I wouldn't say that, I'm intelligent in the lower frequency. I would say I'm intelligent in the higher frequency. If I'm speaking, certain information from a higher frequency to a lower frequency person, or to a low frequency version of myself, they won't really understand what I'm saying, because the information is it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of resonance. Like, it has to be within you. Like, it has to hit something in your core to where you feel it, and you're just like, yo, like, something about that like makes sense. Like Like, it makes a lot of sense. But, we've just been settling our whole lives. We've just been settling. Everybody's like, people tell me how to live my life. People are trying to give me advice. People think that I'm going crazy, and I talk crazy, and that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm the type of person who went through life based on my own experiences, and learned from it, and kind of deciphered what I saw, and made connections, and realized the patterns. Because truly, we all are truly just living in our own body. This is all our own body. And, you're the only one in existence. Everyone else is just a reflection of you. It's not like it's a different entity, like, outside of you that you're with, that has nothing to do with you. Everybody has something to do with you. Everybody has something to do with this body that we're in. But, we choose not to deal with it. We choose not to learn more about it. We choose not to live in tune with what we truly are, in harmony with nature. Oh yeah, I forgot to go back to my grandmother. All right, so now that we know that, society is the cancer of the body. Like, we build giant cities, and those are the tumors, and we just destroy. So, going back, my grandmother is an angelic being, and I noticed that the reason why she had such a hard life is because she tried to fit in society, in hell. She tried to fit in, and she can't. She can't do that. She couldn't do that. She tried to be like cancer so bad that she got cancer and died from cancer. And like, how do you get cancer? Like, how does anything happen in your body? Like, do we even know what epigenetics is? I think epigenetics is new, right? Is it? No. It's been out for like a few years, I believe. But anyway, so epigenetics shows us that our environment, what we eat, the people we're around, especially the people, what we drink, the water that touches our body, the information that touches our skin. Our cells receive information from the external world, which is really the internal world. And so what that does is, first, let's go to food. There's microRNAs in food, and there's microRNAs in you. When you eat food, the microRNAs that you put in your body, the foreign entities that you put in your body, they regulate your genes. They now add on to your genes. And so, everybody's out here eating chicken and beef, right? Like Cow and Chicken, right? The TV show Cow and Chicken. And now everybody's acting like a coward. Everybody's a chicken. Everybody's they're scared. They're scared to learn something new. They're scared to talk about information that goes against their belief. And that's real shit. Like, not no one, but most people out here don't even know how to hold a conversation. When I talk to people, they're so worried about. They're focused on what I say, how I say it, the expressions on my face, because, like, I'm very neutral. I'm very calm, and you know, like, unless we're talking about something that's like fulfilling my soul, I won't be super, hype about it. And so they're not really focused on, you know, what we're talking about. They're not focused on the topic. Trying to they're not trying to understand. Like, they just listen to reply. They're like, all right, you said this, I heard you say that, but this is what I'm gonna say next. And they hold that thought in their head. They're not really trying to sit back, listen to what I said, and digest it, and then be like, all right, cool. If they don't understand something, they'll just be like, all right, why'd you say this? Or what does that mean? Or what, like, what about this? And try to build off of it. It's kind of just, all over the place. Kind of like my thoughts right now. So the reason why I'm hearing myself, and I notice how airy my thoughts are, and that's because my Mercury, my mind, is in Libra. It's an air sign. I can think very fast, and I can't grasp onto one thought and hold on to that thought very well, and I'm working on that. So I apologize. But, for right now, it is what it is. Let's see. So, I want to just, speak a little bit about who I am. And so, as a child growing up, I was rebellious, like I always did what made me happy. I always stayed true to myself. I was always weird because I just did whatever I felt that was right for me to do. I was bad in school, not like my schoolwork was bad, I could do schoolwork when I sat down and did it, and it was easy, but it never fulfilled me. It was just like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why do I have to learn how to be, a human if I'm already a human? And so school has just been like, whatever. It didn't really have an impact on my life at all. I grew up, in a household of 5 people. It was me, my mother, my father, my older brother, my younger brother, and my sister. That's 6, right? Yeah. So, and in that household, my mother was the only one working for 20 years. She was the only one working for 20 years. And my mother's a Taurus. She's an earth sign. I know she's a good person. She's a light worker. She's not a light worker. She's just a good person. She's a good heart. And she felt like she needed to do that. She had to do that. She did her best. And she went to work every day. She had a career. She was a correction officer. So she was working with inmates. She was working on Rikers Island, which is one of the worst jails in the world, I believe. I don't really remember. Like, I don't really think about that shit. But she had to go to work every single day and deal with terrible people, just horrible people. I'm talking about inmates, and I'm also talking about the people that she worked with. And every day she would come back broken, like more broken. She loved us, but she was so kind of annoyed with everyone that she would push us away every single time. Because she wanted to be by herself. She wanted to kind of escape the world that she was in. And I felt bad. I watched her day in and day out, come home, tell me about the inmate. She's like, oh, I met this sweet kid. He should never have been there. And the system just kind of fucked him over. And then later on that night, I heard him screaming and shit for me. and you know, I ran in there. You know, she you know, walked over to that guy's cell. She told me, and she went in the cell and stood there the whole night. She stood in between both of them the whole night. She was saying, "You're not gonna hurt this. You're not gonna hurt this kid. You're not doing that." She put herself in danger. Her life was in danger every single day. You know, like people plotting on her, trying to take her out, like trying to hurt her, trying to do her harm. And she, you know, it was just chaos. It was like the worst place to be. I don't know how people can do that shit. And she's a strong woman, but that job is just, it just tore her down. Like, and I feel bad because all she was looking forward to was getting her 20 years done so she could retire. And she wasn't doing nothing else. She would just, when she came home, she would, you know, get on the computer and start playing computer games. And I tried to talk to her. I tried to bond with my mother, and she would, you know, bond with me for like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then push me away most of the time. You know, there were times where we, you know, went on family vacations and shit, and went to fucking, you know, Disney World or fucking Orlando Studios, fucking anywhere. And you know, that was her idea of like having a good time. And I did have a good time. It's not like I didn't have a good time. I was a kid. Like, what else could I have done? And so, you know, after seeing all that, she finally retired. And when she got her pension, you know, the government took half of her pension. Like, she worked 20 years for a goal and only got half of that goal back. And she's only getting paid half of the money that she worked for. Like, does that make sense? That don't make sense. That don't make sense at all. You know, we have rappers out here that rap about being a gangster, right? And getting a lot of money. But after my mom, you know, lost half her check, I realized who really owned that money. That money don't belong to us. Like, these gangsters talk about getting all this money. But what is that? Who owns that money? Who owns your fucking house? Who owns your fucking car? If you don't own nothing. You ain't got shit. We talking about what, right? Let's think about it. So, you got a big ass house, right? You gotta pay mortgage for the house, right? Alright, cool. So if you don't pay mortgage for that house, they're gonna take your house. So how you own that house? Next, you got a car, right? You gotta pay what, like yearly, some shit for your car? Don't pay that. Car gone. Shit. What else? What else do people like? You got a business, right? You got to pay. So you have to find a place to rent out for your business, and then you got to pay, like, you got to pay the realtor or the person you rented your shit from, the landlord, whatever it is, to keep your business running. If you don't pay that, then you got to move your business out. Like, what do you own? Why do we think that this is the only way to live? Because we grew up in it. This is all we know. This is all we know how to do. This is all we want to know how to do. We ain't gonna want to learn how to, learn where to go, learn how to be with nature, in tune with nature, learn how to get things for free, get all the food you need for free, all the sunlight you need for free, or the fresh water for free, living off the land for free. Nah. We gotta go get this money. We gotta go, get this career job so we could, further the agenda. Like, you're working for somebody else. Like, the people who print money, they don't need money, right? So they make up all these little things, right? For you to do, for you to work into. Even your own ideas, they're not even your ideas. You can't you don't think for yourself, really. You think you do, but first of all, the lower self, when you grew up into this system, they gave you all the methods of thinking. You don't think for yourself. You don't know what the fuck to think about. You don't know how to. When you were born, you didn't know how to talk. How you gonna know how to think? Someone taught you how to think. Someone taught you what to think. So when you come up with a new idea, where'd it come from? The lower self, obviously. A lot of us are just lost. I feel like well, I know that people are here, on karmic reasons based on what they did in their past. They're born as a cancer cell because they fucked up in their past life. And they get born into the system. These are people that will hear the truth. They'll hear the truth, they'll know it, but they won't understand it. I don't even know. There's just so much to talk about. There's so much to know. There's so much to do. I've been a cancer cell my whole life. I realized that. I did it all on purpose. My whole life I didn't give a shit. I didn't care about nothing that happened. I did. I obviously have emotions. My moon is in Leo. But, I always had that purpose. Like, I always kept going. Like, even when I was fucking depressed and talking about killing myself like everybody else, I kept going. I didn't stay there. Now I know where I need to be. Now I know what I need to do. Now I know how to do it. It took me a long time to find that.